It was a cold October night when Daniel, a 27-year-old college student, was driving home from his late shift at a diner just outside of Chicago. The highway was long and empty, stretching out into the darkness with only the hum of his engine and the occasional whistle of the wind to keep him company. He turned up the radio, hoping to fight off the drowsiness tugging at his eyes. That's when he saw her. At the edge of the road, illuminated by his headlights, stood a young woman. She was dressed in a pale white dress, almost glowing against the night. Her hair was long, dark, and wet, clinging to her shoulders as though she had just stepped out of a storm. Daniel slowed the car, rolling down the window. "Hey, are you all right? Do you need a ride?" The woman didn't answer at first. She simply nodded and stepped toward the car, her eyes fixed on him with a strangely vacant stare. Daniel felt uneasy, but he couldn't leave her there in the cold. She slid into the passenger seat, her skin so pale it almost looked translucent under the dim interior light. "Where are you heading?" Daniel asked, forcing a smile. She whispered softly, "Just down the road to my house." Her voice was barely audible, almost like an echo. The drive was silent, except for the occasional crackle of static from the radio. Daniel kept glancing at her, trying to make sense of why she looked so out of place. She sat perfectly still, hands folded in her lap, her dress slightly damp as though she'd been caught in the rain, though there hadn't been a drop of rain all day. After a few minutes, she spoke again, her voice fragile. "Thank you for stopping. Most people just drive past me." Daniel forced a laugh. "Well, I couldn't just leave you there. It's freezing out." She gave a faint smile, though it didn't quite reach her eyes. Then she said something that made his stomach drop. "You're kind, kinder than the last man who picked me up." Before he could ask what she meant, she leaned forward and pointed ahead. "That's the turn just there." Daniel followed her direction, pulling onto an old gravel road lined with twisted, leafless trees. The branches clawed at the night sky like skeletal fingers, and the headlights barely cut through the thick darkness. "Up ahead," she whispered. Daniel drove slowly, the gravel crunching under his tires. His pulse quickened when he realized where they were headed, an abandoned farmhouse that everyone in town knew about. People said it was haunted, cursed, a place where strange lights appeared at night. No one had lived there for decades. This is your house?" Daniel asked, gripping the steering wheel tighter. The woman only nodded. Her expression never changed. Daniel pulled the car to a stop. The old farmhouse loomed ahead, its windows shattered, its walls caving in, an aura of decay surrounding it. "Are you sure?" he started, but when he turned to look at her, the passenger seat was empty. She was gone. Daniel's breath caught in his throat. He slammed on the brakes and scrambled out of the car, looking around wildly. "Hello?" His voice echoed in the night, but there was no sign of her. No footprints on the gravel, no sound of movement, nothing. Heart pounding, he grabbed his phone, switching on the flashlight, and shined it toward the farmhouse. That's when he saw it, a framed picture sitting right on the rotting porch steps. He walked closer, his legs trembling. The photograph was old, its edges curled and yellowed. His stomach turned to ice as he realized it was a picture of the same woman he had just given a ride. Only this photo looked decades old. At the bottom of the frame, written in fading ink, were the words, "In loving memory of Sarah, 1935-1957. Daniel's breath came in short gasps. He stumbled back, his mind racing. No, this isn't real. I must be dreaming." He bolted back to his car, fumbling with the keys. The engine roared to life, and he sped down the gravel road, not daring to look in the rearview mirror. But curiosity got the better of him halfway down the highway. He glanced up and froze. In the backseat, reflected faintly in the mirror, sat the woman in white, her pale face, her lifeless eyes staring directly at him. Daniel swerved, nearly losing control of the car. He slammed on the brakes, turned around, but the seat was empty again. His heart hammered so hard he thought it would burst from his chest. He didn't sleep that night. He couldn't. For days, he avoided that stretch of road, but the story of the vanishing hitchhiker gnawed at him. He told a few close friends, who looked at him with a mix of fear and disbelief. One of them finally admitted, "You're not the first. People have been picking her up for years. Some say she died on that road, waiting for a ride that never saved her." Years later, Daniel still refuses to drive after dark on lonely highways. He still hears her voice in his dreams. Sometimes, he wakes in the middle of the night and swears he sees her reflection in the mirror across the room. Waiting, watching, forever seeking one last ride home.